Welcome, everyone. Welcome. We are excited. I am Grandmaster Jessie Bowen, and I'm here with two masters in the martial arts with 50 plus years. If you have not heard about this book, then I don't know where you are because it's been hot, hot, hot. We're into week 5, and it's still Amazon's #1 best-selling book. And I'm here with our co-authors, people who shared their bios. And what we have worked on doing is to build the interest in the stories about people who have been around for 5 decades. And I guess they would call us old school folks, Grandmaster, I think it's Grandmaster Moore. How are you doing, sir?
I'm very good, sir. Thank you.
I'm good. Grandmaster McMurray. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing wonderful, sir.
Well, now you should be a pro at this now, because we've been on several podcasts together and we've done several things together. And I'm proud of you because I think you're handling all this here by yourself. But technology is wonderful. And that's what I try to say to martial artists. We've been I'm entering my 50th year this year. And so I'm the junior guy here. So, and I say to everyone, you have to keep up with some form of technology because, the world won't stop for you. So again, welcome to our podcast today. And this is the Martial Arts Extraordinaire podcast. And the book here was started. That's the name of the book, the Martial Arts Extraordinaire biography book. So the book came first and then the podcast. So it all has the same name. And Mr. Moore, so tell us a little bit about you. And I'll go to each of you and ask you a couple of questions. Again, we want to share with everyone who you guys are, and got some announcements to make. And so while we're here, you can go to Amazon, you can look up the book, and you can actually purchase a copy of the book. We have reduced the price because we want everyone to be able to get a copy of this amazing book. And so it's going to be changing on tomorrow. So take the advantage of going to the website and getting a special offer. Now, having books is very powerful. And, if you notice, I got a bookcase behind me. It's full of books, and I threw away and got rid of and gave away hundreds of magazines because I wanted to know more about the martial artists around the world. So, Mr. Moore, why don't you tell us a little bit about you?
Well, first of all, it's a real honor and privilege to be a part of this podcast. And my background is I've really been in martial arts well over 60 years, believe it or not. I started when I was about 5 years old with my father. My father was a martial artist, and he was a boxer. He was in World War II, saw hand-to-hand combat in World War II in the South Pacific. He was Army liaison to the Marines in Guadalcanal, for instance. And then when he came back, he got hit by a bomb, and they sent him to New Zealand and then back to the U.S., and that's where he continued to teach martial arts to the troops. And so I've really been in and around it for a long time. I grew up in a tough neighborhood and wasn't the biggest guy. But I just almost from day one of my life, I've had this incredible, insatiable desire and passion to learn martial arts. And I still consider myself a student. I just absorb. I'm so grateful to all these wonderful masters, especially in martial arts, who have taken me under their wings and just they see the passion in me, and they just not necessarily any extraordinary talent, but just the passion. And I think really in my life, I look back on my life now, and it's really been two parallel paths in the sense that not only have I continued my martial arts study and training for all these years, but I also was very active in the business world. I was in the finance and investments world for most of my career, and So that sometimes that made life busier than I think for most, trying to keep up with both paths, but it's been incredibly rewarding. And I think that differentiates me a little bit from some of my colleagues in the sense that I've also worked extremely hard in the business world and enjoyed some modest success in that world. Grew up in Seattle, Washington, lived most of my life in the Los Angeles area, and now live with my wife here in Las Vegas. And I continue to train here despite my age and the many injuries we all seem to sustain with martial arts. And with that, I'll leave it. That's a kind of a brief summary, but I'll leave it at that.
History,
Outstanding.
history, 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 and history. It is so important. And I realize it every day because we all had these beginnings and things that this generation doesn't experience. And all of those, our experiences are very valuable. And no matter where we are in the different parts of the country, we all had an experience, and we were blessed to have been, met someone, in your case, your dad, introduced you to boxing and the martial arts. I met a gentleman that shared with me information that made me better. And when you meet martial artists, that's the first thing you're looking for, is that person can make you better, because a martial arts by itself, it stands alone. I can write it down on paper, but that doesn't make it work for me. It is the martial artist. And when we look at spending all these years and countless number of black belts, the countless number of people that we've changed their lives, that is important. That is something special. And we all come from different backgrounds and different experiences. And this is what makes us special. We until recently, we didn't know each other, but because we're in each other's path. And because we're in each other's path, we're able to have a message and to be able to share with the world about something called martial arts and the martial artists that began to teach us and how they impacted our lives. Grandmaster Murray. So, tell us a little bit about you and what makes 50 years of study, what makes it important to you? Because what we try to do is to have that message. It's going to be in the Library of Congress, so it's going to be around for a long time. And especially if we can share this with our kids, our grandkids, our nieces, nephews, about who we are. Maybe just reading about us can actually influence someone else's life. Grandmaster Murray.
Grandmaster Bowen, thank you for having me again. It's an honor to share the screen with you.
Yes,
my
sir.
story of martial arts started when I was 12 years old in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I trained for 1.5 hour every Saturday for 3 years. And then I moved to another instructor and found out later his name was George Dillman, Israel Karate. And again, it was 1.5 hour every Saturday for another 3 years. I went to college, but then got drafted. And at the time, I did not know that I had to go to the Army because I was in college. I didn't have that information. So I went to draft board. I entered with the Special Forces, which everybody knows Green Berets. Served 2 years, 2 consecutive years in Vietnam and Southeast Asia. And when I came back from Vietnam, I was in a very dark place. And I went to a martial arts school with Jimmy Brown. And he saw that, I had this warrior mentality that I would take nothing for nobody. So he had me start teaching kids. And kids are very hard to teach. But as I kept on teaching, I found out that I had to change my personality, change my outlook on life. And actually, the kids actually start having me live again. So I recognize today that the kids saving me. Through my years, I've trained in many martial arts, Korean, karate, and even a little kung fu. But my love is the Korean martial art, and my style now is Aikido. I've been traveling all over the world. I've been lucky enough to be in several magazines, on the cover of several. The best one, of course, is the one you're producing right now, the 50-year celebration. And that is a very honor to me. Thank you. Thank you very much. Served my term in Vietnam, and then the Special Forces, and then my rest of the time in the Army. I got to the Army in 1984 and decided to continue to teach. And I've done that. And I've traveled around the world giving seminars, meeting new people, new masters, new black belts, just new people in general, and formed a great brotherhood in the martial art, no matter what style you are. And like you said earlier, Grandmaster Bowen, that martial art is a conduit for all people to get together and share. And I'm happy to do that.
And we appreciate you, both of you gentlemen, and the other 168 people, you know, who are affiliated with our book and the things that we've been doing. So we find, as I went back through the first book, which was the tribute to Grandmaster Ron Van Cleef, that as I went through here, there were a lot of pages that we had to put as posthumous, that people had moved on. But yet and still, I thought it was really important that we still kept those people in the book, so that they can still live on, you know, in through the pages of our books. And everyone, when we think about the books and the project, I'm always asked, well, why do you write all of these books? Well, this is just a part of my purpose. And so my purpose, my assignment is to help people to sit down and evaluate their lives to determine whether or not you're wasting a perfectly good life. And that doesn't matter. And life doesn't have an age. Life is just life. And, you know, what are you doing? You know, what are you creating? You know, Grandmaster Moore, you were, you know, talking about, you know, the business world and all the things that you've done. So martial arts is taught us to be innovators and creators because of the way it stimulates our mind, you know, to be able to focus on something, to visualize. And this program today is just a vision and a dream that I've pursued. And through the pursuit of it, we're here today. And this is what the martial arts teaches us, is that, you know, pursuing something. And when you look at doing something for 50 years, it's a part of you. It's not something you put on, you take off. Someone says, well, you know, can you just take a moment and not be a martial artist? How can I do that? You know, how can I step out of myself and be something else? But it really depends on, you know, your perception. And when we think about honor, is your perception of honor and your perception of loyalty. And martial arts teaches all of those things. So I ask my staff every day. In fact, I have a young lady that just started working for me. She's actually in the Philippines. And so she's been working for me about a couple of weeks. And I was really impressed with her when I made that decision to hire her. And so every day I asked her, so what did you learn? You know, in my martial arts school, at the end of class, I asked my students, I go around, I said, what did you learn? Because I want them to think about, what did I learn today? So that's how can I use it? So Grandmaster Moore, in this 50 years, what's your takeaway? You know, what have you learned?
Well, that's a great question, and I'd almost have to think about that a little bit more. But I think that in in martial arts, to me, life is about growth. We're here to grow, to get to be better people. You go through the ups and downs, hurdles, everything else, but the idea is to become a better human being. And martial arts is one of those paths that really, it's really accessible and available to anybody to grow and become a better person. And I think that, like you and I've discussed, the physical aspects of it are great. They're fun. They're important in many ways. Self-protection is always important, but growing as a human being is really what is fundamental to martial arts. And I think that's what martial arts mostly offers today. The self-protection aspect, sure, that's important, the self-defense aspect, but it's about growing as a human being. And I think that's maybe my biggest takeaway. It's when I think of different schools, and by the way, Mr. McMurray, I've been in Korean martial arts for over 35 years now, and in the royal court martial arts, it's very similar to Hapkido, a little different name, but very similar. And I look at these different organizations, and ultimately the ones that seem to be successful are the ones that not only do a good job of teaching the physical aspects of kicking and punching, but really provide their students with this path to personal growth. And I think that would be my primary takeaway.
Grandmaster McMurray, what is
Grandmaster well said. I appreciate that.
I agree with that.
Those words are great. Mine is similar to Grandmaster Moore, but I'd like to add that my takeaway is teaching integrity, being yourself no matter where you are, but being that good person. And also patience, knowing how to look at other people's troubles and trials and not just go ahead and jumping off on them, but stepping back and actually listen to them and helping them grow, which also helps yourself to grow. Like I say, my savior is my kids. Although I do teach adults, I do teach my kids how to be a better person. And what you said, Grandmaster Bowen, about, what you learn each day. I ask my kids every time they come to class, what you learned today? And they have to tell me something they learned today. And one child has even got the habit of writing in his notebook everything he's learned. So he comes in, he has that, and he goes back and reads that over and over again. So providing that knowledge of today's youth and today's adults, actually, of learning something each day and sharing that something with someone, and not just saying it, but actually living it, is what I get to take away.
Right. And everyone, if you just joined us, we're talking about the Martial Arts Extraordinaire 50-year book. This is volume 1, and this one here is volume 2. It's available on Amazon. If you're into martial arts, collecting those books, because, I have books going back to when I was a brown belt, and they stay in my library because if I need to research, now, of course, today we have the internet and all of those things that are right there, at our fingertips. My takeaway is a combination of what both of you said. It's about humanity. It's about sharing. It's about loving. It's about caring. It's about giving, and blindly that we do this, that when our students come in, it's not about the color of our skin. It's not about our language. It's about giving. Every person that you meet, I want to teach them about martial arts, but about discipline and what it actually is. And this is what my teacher, he taught me, and it's an inherited part of who we are. And when we think about who we are as martial artists, we have to go back to our genealogy. Where did we come from? So, as a beginner, you don't really necessarily think about that, but as you move on, that becomes important. And so this is what these books are really designed to do, is to share, well, where did my teacher come from? You know, as I look, you know, at my genealogy of who influenced me, then you know, of course, my teacher and you may or may not know Grandmaster Victor Moore. He's the guy that's in the picture, African American gentleman with Bruce Lee trying to block his punch. But he was one of the greatest fighters of all times during that period in the 60s. And my teacher has a 4th degree black belt under him going back into in the early 60s. And so I look at, and so I still have a relationship with him. About every month I call him to see how he's doing. I've never trained with him, but I have that respect of who my teacher trained with. Then I trained with Grandmaster Joe Louis, who actually trained with Bruce Lee. In fact, one of Bruce Lee's students actually sent me a book. I got it yesterday. He's going to be at the event in Vegas. And this book is titled The Last Disciple, My Memoirs with Bruce Lee. So, you know, we're talking about Bruce Lee and Joe Louis, who trained under him. And all of a sudden I get a book from one of the guys that trained directly with Bruce Lee. And we started talking and we hit it off right away. But that's what we're saying, is that history, it is important, because, you know, the books that's been written on Bruce Lee, this is how we know about Bruce Lee, the magazines that we have out there. This is the way we keep informed with who's really who in the martial arts. So this is what our books are about. So if you're one of our listeners, you know, the banner's going across the screen there. You can go to Amazon. You can get a copy of this amazing book. It is the #1 release in martial arts biography book, and that just happened last night. And so what does it mean to be a bestseller? And you guys today, we're sharing that title with you, and you can now add into your bio, you are an Amazon #1 best-selling contributing author. So this book is not about me. It's about being able to share all the benefits of the book. So now, you know, share this with your family, share it with your friends. So it's a part of your DNA, because we have now, your legacy is a part of this book. And your philosophy, and this is great, as I read the book and I read about martial artists and what they think, because we all are similar, but we all have those different experiences, which actually, you know, really benefits the student and benefits us. Okay, so I guess we're coming to that sort of last question in there. And again, you know, congratulations. I'll be sending your certificates over. And everyone, when we think about a best-selling book, I'm a publisher. And so if I publish a book and nobody reads it, then it's a big doorstop. You know, it has no value. People have to read the book. And that's why we are constantly promoting what we're doing, because there's so much knowledge and so much value. And I tell the story, my day one of my martial arts journey, I'd never seen the word karate. And I go in a store and I'm walking out, my eye catches the word karate. And it was over in a newsstand. And I walked over and I picked up this book. And I'm looking in there. And then when I open up the inside cover, there's a picture of Grandmaster Chuck Norris. He's holding a giant trophy cup. His foot is up in a chair, and a little old lady's him in his uniform. When I saw that picture alone, I wanted to be a karate champion that day, that moment, that time. It wasn't 6 months into the martial arts. I wanted to be like Chuck Norris. I wanted to be like Chuck Norris. And then when Walker came out, I really wanted to be like Chuck Norris. And like, you know, his had a school in Virginia Beach, Virginia. So I had a chance to meet him, and he gave me some encouragement. I said, "So, sir, what would you? Is there anything I can do?" You know what he said? He says, "Keep training." you know, I have a picture of us shaking hands. He says, "Keep training." And then in 2020, I had the opportunity to publish a book with him, part of our Who's Who book. And and so when you keep your focus, there are doors that continually open. So I'm going to leave it to you guys to have the last word. Again, this was just to announce that all of our inductees that are in the book, they actually have that title too. And I'm going to send everyone a certificate which says that you are a best-selling contributing author. Please continue to support the book. Please continue to share the word. Sign up as an affiliate partner. I've got a whole lot of benefits that you can take the advantage of. Pick and choose which of those you'd like to do. But I don't believe in taking without giving. I believe in always giving more than I'm actually receiving. So at any time that you need me, or you have a question, or any way that I can support you, please let me know. So we're going to wrap up here. So Grandmaster Moore, any final words from you?
Oh, just again to thank you, and boy, what an honor to be a part of this book. I'll tell you, I never would have dreamed anything like this ever in my martial arts career, especially when I started out, because it was always about learning and growing. And what you have done in this publishing world is extraordinary. You should be really proud of what you've done. You've done so much for our martial arts community, and I know it's not easy. I know it's a lot of hard work, but it's really important. And I know I applaud you, and I know many others in our community applaud you for everything you do. So I just wanted to say thank you, and again, I'm just really excited to be a part of this. Thank you.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for trusting me, with your biographical information. And it's really, as I said before, this is my purpose, and I'm a minister, and with this purpose, I'm not here to tell people who to believe in or what to believe in. But again, if someone can sit down and begin to write about their life, and they realize that there's nothing to tell, then they can change at that moment. And this is an indicator of whether or not you're wasting a perfectly good life. And at that moment, then you can change. So again, I don't do this. It's not for the money. There's an outcome, because I try to produce readers, which produces revenue and all those other things. But if no one is reading, then it really doesn't work. But I truly thank you. And again, I'm here. I know you've got a book that's coming out shortly. So anything I can do to support you, it's just information. I'd be more than happy to share anything that I know, with you. Grandmaster McMurray, any final words from you?
Well, I'd like to echo what Grandmaster Moore has said. You've done an extreme, wonderful job, sir. And I met you several years ago, and I'm a low-key guy. And you came in and you started putting my word out about me, and I thought, I'm not worthy to be that. I'm just a martial artist. But you have shown me that, yes, I can teach others worldwide through your magazines, through your writing. And I appreciate that. And continue with your discipline, continue with your hard work, and you always have my support.
Well, I do appreciate that, sir. And, the thing that you had said a few moments ago, that is so hard for us to get out of our own way, because we've been taught to stand in a corner and don't be recognized. We're part of the shadow people, but in the shadows, we're not able to help people. In the shadows, we're not able to teach. Our journey, and as a father and as a grandfather, it's my responsibility to teach my grandchildren, to teach my children. and to teach their friends and anyone that we come in contact, that we can share a positive word with. And I think this is the Grandmaster, learning just to master our own lives. And we really do. We thank you. We thank all of our contributing authors in the book, and everyone. This is a powerful book. It's not just a martial arts book. It's an inspiration book that has many chapters in there, many stories, and there's someone that's in that book has already been through where and what you may be going through. So, and as they share how they solve their problems and move forward, this is what makes this such a powerful book. And again, we thank everyone for participating. Go to Amazon, get a copy of the book. If you happen to come to Vegas in a few weeks, and I'll see both of you guys in Vegas, in a few weeks. So, that's going to be great. Vegas is going to be wonderful. Share a little side note that, Shion Dana Abbott is one of my, good friend, and we both do sword work, and we both are writers, and we have so many things in common. So we're going to be doing a seminar together. So that's going to be at 8 a.m. But we're going to be doing a seminar together, and it's really about the art of the sword and the art of the pen. So we're going to be bringing together, the training. So it is a workout physical class and a lecture-based class too. So, if you get a chance, now that's going to be early in Vegas. That's going to be an 8 a.m. workout, but, come over and, let's share some great wisdom and just have a great time. That's what I want Vegas to be, is really a reunion. I get a chance to meet people that we read about and, continue to build these relationships. And so I'm again grateful for you. Everyone, remember, go to Amazon and get your copy. It'll be available at Barnes & Noble pretty soon. Google it, and also get the both copies. So there's volume 1 and there's volume 2. And, check it out and discover who these great martial artists that's committed, their lives, that 50 years, 5 decades of their lives to the martial arts. So, do that and be blessed. And remember, everyone has a story. You just have to get it out. Go to elitepublications.org. That is my publishing website. Love to publish your story. Again, sharing that information with you of how to not just write a book, but how to market a book so people will read it. Be blessed. Until the next time, I'll see you.